Love you.
I remember when you got that dog, and weren't you going to name it Jesus Christ or something?
No, we called it God at first.
God, that's right.
Yeah.
You named the dog God, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, that's a great. You're going to name your dog God. That's funny." And then it switched to Baby Dog.
Because like we have another dog and that dog is old, and so like to differentiate between the two dogs at first when Baby Dog was a puppy, before we had totally named Baby Dog, we just called him Baby Dog because it'd be like the regular dog and then the baby dog, and then it's now just the only thing he'll respond to.
Okay. Okay. I like God as a name for a dog. And plus it's like the name dog backwards.
Exactly. It's it was, I thought that it would be hard, like walking the dog. Someone's like, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" And God. That's like not a great conversation.
So we do have some mail.
While you do that, I'm going to do my inhaler.
Listener feedback. Mira is an asthmatic and has to take her inhaler just to get through one of these episodes. The amount of stress that this puts on her body. Oh, like sidebar. I read this like sad story this morning that David Lynch can't direct things anymore because he has emphysema.
I can barely even think about it. Is COPD the same as emphysema?
Probably. Yeah, it's not.
He's got COPD.
It's not good.
God. I mean, the thing about David Lynch is like, he has to live longer than I do, or I will do something that ends me up in the local news. He has to live for like another 50 years. Otherwise, I'm going to do some kind of terrible crime.
You love him that much?
I really do. There's few people in the world who I love as much as I love David Lynch. And like,
he's like universally cool. He's one of these people that like nobody ever says anything bad about, and everybody is really quick to say how much they love them.
I feel like there's a lot of people who like don't even necessarily like know a lot of David Lynch or love David Lynch, but they all will still say like, I get it. Like I know that he's like important to a lot of people and he's like made really interesting stuff. Like I can't watch Eraserhead or whatever people say, but like he's one of those people where even if you don't like him, you have to be like, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's just like anybody who can make like movies as weird as his movies are within the Hollywood system somehow and build like a career like that alone makes me a fan.
There's like a movie that he had in the works that he couldn't get funded like before this, like for like a couple years. It was like he had this movie and I think the budget was probably really big because he was just like, I don't want to make the movie unless the budget is gigantic, like I'm old or whatever. And like he could not get funding from any studio and now he has COPD and can't do it, which makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, like the movies that he's made, the fact that anybody funded them is a testament to his like persuasive abilities and talent. Like that's hard.
I mean, there's like crazy stories about how his movies like ever got funded. I don't like know them off the top of my head necessarily, but like Laura Dern said that when she was at, I think UCLA, I want to say, she dropped out of school to star in Blue Velvet. And when she did it, her professor like told her, this is a terrible idea. This movie will never become popular. This script is fucking ridiculous. Like you're an idiot, basically. And now it's necessary for all first-year film students to study and write about Blue Velvet.
I was going to say, I watched that in film school when a long time ago.
Film school?
Yeah, I have a film degree.
What the fuck? I didn't know that. I thought it was like journalism.
No, I have a bachelor's in film, but then I got my master's in creative writing. I
like literally didn't even know you had a master's degree. I'm going to be totally honest.
I'm a well-educated man, Mira.
Not me.
Yeah, right.
I dropped the fuck out.
You're street smart.
I'm street smart. I'm Wikipedia smart.
I wish David Lynch well. I hope he's in.
He's going to keep making art until the day he dies is the thing. Like we might not get movies, but we'll get paintings. We'll get weird YouTube videos. He's going to keep doing that fucking forever. He can't stop.
Yeah. Well, here's a letter we got from a listener. It's a guy named Joe in Detroit, Michigan. He says, hey, love the new show. One note, Mira, please pronounce Kamala properly. I don't think you're emphasizing the wrong syllable on purpose, but mispronouncing her name is an absolutely intentional thing from right-wing creeps. Thanks, Joe, Detroit, Michigan.
I gotta be honest, that's fair. I want to pronounce everyone's name properly. I never want to mispronounce anyone's name, but I have no fucking idea what the proper way to pronounce it is. How do you pronounce it?
It's Kamala. It's like comma, like the punctuation
Have I been
mark.
saying Kamala? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Oh, Kamala.
yeah. Just remember comma, like you make a comma when you're writing, and
See, I think the issue is I had a friend in elementary school who was the opposite, who was Kamala. And so I just immediately go to that pronunciation. But rest assured, I'm not a right wing crazy. I don't love Kamala. I don't love Kamala, but I'm not mispronouncing her name to be a jerk or anything like that.
I do love her. I've fallen rapidly in love with her and desperately want her to win.
You and Charlie XCX both.
Yeah, it's Brat Summer.
And to be clear, I do want her to win over Trump. Trump is bad.
Yeah. Let's just get her into the White House and then we can figure out what's next.
Yeah.
All right. So what's happening in the world of popular culture?
Let's see. Well, we have a very important story for later in the episode, so please stay tuned for that because it's just one of my favorites. But we're going to start out with another one of our favorites, which is famous, crazy-ass, suicidal Scientologist Tom Cruise.
Oh, God.
He plans to skydive onto the Hollywood sign during the Olympics closing ceremony. Now, okay, I haven't climbed up to the Hollywood sign since I was maybe 16 years old and wanted to smoke weed with boys or whatever. And it was really hard to get up there. It was really exhausting. And I don't remember there being a good landing spot. No, you've been up there, right?
I'm up there all the time. I hike up there all the time. And there's not, he's already done it.
What?
He filmed it in March, this
for the closing ceremony?
For the closing ceremony. So it's not like it's going to be live. He did it in March.
I think he's going to end up killing himself live on air or something.
Well, I think he's going to do something at the actual ceremony where he's going to rappel down. But I think this thing where he skydives and somehow ends up at the Hollywood sign. I mean, I don't know where. There aren't really great places for a skydiver to land. I guess if you're really good at it and you can target land somehow, there might be a place for you to do it.
But also, it's in France. Why is it in the Hollywood sign?
Well, because the LA Olympics are in 2028, so it's the handoff. So the closing ceremonies in Paris happened, and then it's now Tom Cruise, it's next up is LA in 2028.
So LA is going to have the Winter Olympics?
Summer. Yeah, so the summer games are in Paris now, and the next summer games are in 2028, 4 years from now, and LA is hosting.
I'm anti-Olympics. I don't think LA should host. I think it's going to ruin so much shit in Los Angeles like it did last time. So look into that, people.
What did it ruin?
It just displaced a ton of unhoused people, displaced a ton of poor people because they have to build Olympic Village. So to build Olympic Village in Los Angeles, you would have to kick many people out of their homes. You would probably have to use some of the rail lines that are planned to be used for the LA rail going all the way across, which is what happened at the last Olympics, I believe, is why it's taken so long to get rail lines in LA, is because the last Olympic Village, they fucked up the rail lines because they had to build it over the rail lines.
Where are they going to build Olympic Village in LA? I don't even know.
Good question, right? Where the fuck is there room to build Olympic Village in LA?
Yeah.
Do we really need that? That's the other thing, is that Olympic Village is temporary. It's you have all these people there, and then what the fuck do you do with it? It's gone.
They better not build it in my neighborhood.
They're going to build it in your neighborhood.
I don't want.
They're going to take all those fancy houses around you. They're going to fucking tear them down and say fuck you, white people. We're building Olympic Village right here.
So Tom Cruise, you mentioned the word suicidal, and it is interesting to me that he seems to, the older he gets, seems to be obsessed with doing increasingly dangerous stunts.
But he can't kill himself because then he doesn't get his, special planet at the end of life or whatever. Thetans, you're a Scientologist, you can't do suicide, but you can do increasingly dangerous stunts until a production company is held liable for your death.
But I mean, psychologically, it is interesting to me because, okay, great. You like to do stunts and that's something it's your bread and butter as an action hero. But if he's I don't know if he's suicidal, but I do think there could be something because he's 62 years old.
Yeah. And fucking stunt doubles exist. This stuff is easy to do and make it look extremely realistic. There's literally zero reason why Tom Cruise has to literally be doing these stunts himself, besides that he likes the danger.
He does. He's like a adrenaline junkie, but it's also, I think, like a retaliation against the advancing, clock and mortality.
Yeah.
And he's just like, fuck it. I can't, like, this can't fade. I can't age. I can't become an old man. I'm going to just keep jumping out of airplanes. And
I think he's like also like a deeply unwell person. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, okay, I'm getting old. I don't like that I'm getting old. Fuck this. I want out, but I can't actually like just, kill myself. I'm not allowed to do that. So why don't I just do some crazy shit for the rest of my life?
yeah, it's also strange, but again, I think we've mentioned this even before talking about Tom Cruise, is how, people I know who have worked with him or been around him say he's like very polite and nice. Like he's not he's not an asshole.
Nobody has had any complaints about him from as far as I know. Like
he always remembers your name and
mm-hmm.
like makes like really intense eye contact, and like, even if you're not like somebody important, he'll be like, hey, how are you? And he does like,
who does. It's so fucking crazy when celebrities do that. Like I was working like a long time ago at a post-production sound studio for like ADR, like, if people need to like record dialogue after a scene has already been shot because the dialogue in the scene doesn't sound great, but the scene is, or whatever. That was the studio. And so we get a lot of famous people coming in. We had Hugh Jackman come in one time, and like he came in, immediately came up to the front desk where it was just like me and like other like assistants, receptionists, low level girls behind the desk doing like the greeting of people and stuff. He asked everybody's name, went into his session for like 5 hours. I got him like lunch, all this shit, came back out, remembered every single one of our names when he left. Like there was like 10 of us.
He's like, Hugh Jackman is famously nice. I have a Hugh Jackman story.
Do you?
Yeah. My mom has a crush on Hugh Jackman.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. He's just like so nice, but he's like a safe crush. He's nice and charming. Yeah. He's not like a dangerous guy. He's not like
he's not like a guy who I'd be like, that's the guy who I like, but like obviously he's really hot.
He's not like Tom Hardy, who's like dangerous and brooding,
I love Tom Hardy. You just picked out exactly the right one.
Yeah, he's not like that.
For long enough.
Where he's like wounded and I'm gonna heal him, and he's like, I don't know what. But
Hugh Jackman, I feel about Tom Hardy, but I get it.
I don't know. He's just more like dark. He's darker.
Yeah, darker.
Hugh Jackman is like, I'm gonna sing. He like might be gay. I don't know. Like,
He seems a little gay. My theory, my completely unproven theory that I've just like come up with from wildly speculating and like being stoned, is that Blake Lively, who's married to Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively is fucking Taylor Swift. Ryan Reynolds is fucking Hugh Jackman.
Whoa. You believe that?
I mean, no, but it's a theory I came up with when I was like high on edibles, and it kind of, I don't get straight vibes from Ryan Reynolds, I'm going to be honest. He does not seem like a heterosexual man to me. And neither does Blake Lively. Doesn't seem super straight either, to be honest.
Interesting.
But again, I'm just wildly speculating and I have no proof about this.
Well, I mean, who knows?
Not even circumstantial proof. So
these celebrity lives. I mean, everybody's lives behind closed doors are different, than any of us could possibly imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Like celebrity lives in particular, there's a lot going on. And
when you're that hot, you just like do weird sex shit all the time too. I feel like when you're just hot and you're surrounded by hot people, it's like, oh yeah, we're all gonna do like fucking all kinds of weird sex shit because everyone's hot, and why wouldn't we?
Yeah, I got like $250 million in the bank. Like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, fuck it.
So anyway, Hugh Jackman was working on a movie. I don't know what movie it was, but a friend of ours was working on the film and knows my mom and knows how much she loves Hugh Jackman and has like this, kind of like old lady crush on him.
You remember what movie it was?
It was probably, no, I have no idea.
Okay.
But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is that this person was talking to Hugh Jackman and was like, oh, my friend's mom, it's like her 70th birthday today, and she like loves you. And she was like, oh, give me the phone. Let's call her. Or whatever, with his Australian accent. He fucking called my mom and wished her happy birthday.
Wow.
And my mom answered, and he's like, hello, Peggy, it's Hugh Jackman.
Did she was like have a heart attack on site? Was she just like, oh, no, all right, I'm out?
She didn't believe it was real. She thought it was a prank. He had to like convince her that it was really Hugh Jackman. And then I want to say too, he autographed like a cover of People magazine that he was on.
Wow. Like the sexiest man or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a Hugh Jackman fan forever for that. Like he like made my mom's day. Like
I
just
mean,
like
honestly, like that's really sweet. That's a very sweet thing to do. Like that's like it's the kind of thing that I feel like if I was like a celebrity, I'd want to do all the time just because it's like fun and funny and it makes people happy. Like why not?
that's like one of the only reasons why you'd want to be a
Right,
celebrity.
exactly. Is so that I can like if there's like a little kid on the street who really likes me, I can like be like, "Oh, look at this adorable child." Or if there's an old lady who likes me, I can call her on the phone. Like that's kind of the whole point, right?
That's fun. It's fun.
hmm hmm
But he's a sweetheart. He's a nice man, that Hugh Jackman. And
Ever since he came into my work, like I like him forever. Like there was not another single actor who like even took the effort to like know what my name was when I was bringing them food constantly. Like he was really nice.
I need to learn his trick for like Tom Cruise. They have to have a trick for
They
remembering
do.
people's names. I don't know. I always forget
I've
everything.
heard that looking somebody in the eye when they say their name and then repeating the name back to them makes it stick in your head more. It's something like I've constantly like forget names right after people tell them to me, and that's like the trick that I normally use to try to remember. It works a little bit.
Well, Mira, thank you for that tip.
Well, Brad, you're on a webcam, so we're both looking each other in the eye, and it doesn't
That's right.
even look like it.
I'll never forget your name for as long as I live. So Tom Cruise, like, I don't know if he's suicidal, but this is the thing. It's all so sad. Like this whole thing, he's got this kid with Katie Holmes. He's never really sees her as far as I know. Like
Probably
that's what,
better for the kid.
yeah, but I mean, like the whole scene is just so weird and sad like that.
Yeah, this is why I feel like he's suicidal. He's got like this dark, lonely life where he's like a closeted homosexual, and his kid hates him, and like all this shit. He's stuck in this cult.
And
Why wouldn't you?
and like you've said before, you're like 100% sure that he's closeted. You feel that. You feel strongly.
100%. So does the rest of Hollywood. I mean, it's just he is a homosexual.
I want to say Gwyneth Paltrow once was asked that question and she was like, "No, he's so straight."
Yeah, of course you would say that. That's like celebrities have like they've got an agreement with each other. You're not going to like out another celebrity because then what's he going to say about Gwyneth Paltrow?
I saw dude, I don't know where I saw this. There's like a funny joke, probably on social media or something, but somebody like tweeted or made a joke that like if there are like a dozen like entitled rich white women together in a group, that's called like a goop of white women. Like instead of like a gaggle of geese. I don't know.
It's
But
like
yeah,
a group of white men that's called a podcast.
that's yeah, exactly. But there's a goop of women at this restaurant. So Tom Cruise suicidal. To me it reads more like he's fighting mortality and age,
By
and
trying to kill himself.
by trying to like tempt fate, but also by trying to do these like it's almost like he's trying to do increasingly dangerous things to like prove his own vitality to the world.
I mean, let me ask you this. Like, if you were Tom Cruise's age, or any age, and you didn't want to die, you valued your life like the way you do now, you really don't want to die, would you be doing any of this? I wouldn't.
I feel like, and
Like,
I could be
you
totally
couldn't
wrong
do
here.
the skydive.
What's the name of that seat? Remember, that like rich like tech bro who's like trying to live to be
Oh, yeah.
150.
He's like trying to like revert back. He's like to 17, or he's like injecting the blood of like his son or some weird shit.
There are people who are like it's a spectrum, right? So it's not everybody's doing exactly the same thing, but there's a kind of dude who is fixated on peak performance, wellness, longevity, like winning the competition of life, in the marketplace. All of these things are sort of tied together. And I feel like I would imagine Tom Cruise is a guy who does the ice bath in the morning and like then the sauna
Because
and
he
then,
likes suffering.
yeah, and then takes like, 3 dozen supplements, like I think that's probably his track, but I don't know. I've never read
I
anything.
think that's right. But I think that like he is so like OCD concerned with like his body and the way that he looks and like making sure that he like stays like physically feeling good. I think that like if he would never like commit suicide by like becoming a drug addict. He's like way too much of a control freak. He has to like look the way that he likes. He has to be in control of everything. He has to like know that he's in control. And like jumping out of a plane as a stunt and dying that way is kind of the only way that he could kill himself, I think. I don't think that he's like brave enough, or he's too brainwashed by Scientology at least to do it himself. I think that he has to have it be this.
Well, I mean, this is the other thing, is that this guy has spent the majority of his life being treated as a deity. Like, not just by the wider culture. I mean, that alone would fuck somebody up, just to be like a famous A-list movie star for your whole adult life, and to be that rich and to get your ass kissed, and you're surrounded by yes people. Everywhere you go, it's yes, yes, yes. And all of that can distort a person's sense of reality. But to also be essentially the number 2 guy in this religion, this quote unquote religion, and, you know, by far and away its most prominent member and like the face of the religion, like David Miscavige aside, like it's Tom Cruise's thing. Like Tom Cruise is the most, like when you think of Scientology, you think of Tom Cruise. Yeah. And he means an enormous amount to that grift, into that organization, and like their ability to function and raise money and bring in new people.
It's like they both have like a relationship that they can't escape from. Like they need Tom Cruise to make money, and like Tom Cruise needs them so that a bunch of bad shit about his life isn't released to the press.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what happens behind closed doors there, and like how he seems to be genuinely into it, but maybe they have leverage over him.
I mean, I think he is genuinely into it, and that, like, you know, celebrities go there and they essentially get therapy, you know, like that's what they do at Scientology, and they use what you say in therapy as blackmail against you, as like essentially their whole thing. And so if you're like a celebrity and you haven't felt like comfortable going to therapy, it totally makes sense why Scientology would be appealing to you, right? Like it's you have this country club, you have this therapy, you have all this stuff, but then I think once you get too deep into it, once you get to the point where you want to leave, they're like, not so much, like you're fucked. And Tom Cruise was kind of just like, okay, I'm fucked, let's go, like I'm part of this religion now.
But then the thing too, though, is that they also cater to him and to other celebrities, but especially to him, so extremely. Like, did you ever hear that story about how when he was with Nicole Kidman, it somehow became known that she had some fantasy about like frolicking in a field of violets, or, you know, some flower. And then out at Gold Base, which is like the Scientology ranch out in Hemet in the desert in California, like David Miscavige ordered like Scientology, like the grunt workers, these poor fucking people, like the Sea Org or whatever, like they had to like plant like an entire field of these flowers just for like Tom and Nicole, so that when they showed up, he could like give her that moment. But I mean, it's like that level of
psychotic.
Yeah, and I could be messing up details, but it's something like that, and it's that level of curated attention, and he is being told, especially since his circle is so tight, you know, these people have told him, I think, that he's special, and he's like, he's an elite being.
Because according to Scientology, he's done all of the things. He's donated the money. He's done the volunteer work. He's done the fucking evangelizing that like gets you up to feet in level 7.
And then, and all these people, like, imagine like he walks into a church function and like all these people are like staring at him like he's
standing ovation.
He's got to have maybe some sort of like outsized sense of immortality, or I'm elevated, I can, like, it's working for him.
He's testing his own mortality. He's like, okay, can I not die? Let's just try to do. It's like Unbreakable, when like he like slowly discovered he could lift anything. He was like, okay, let's try something a little heavier. All right, a little heavier, and then he's like lifting a car. It's like that's like Tom Cruise with dying. He's like, well, you know, let's try doing a couple of flips. Let's try jumping off of a small building. Let's try jumping off of a bigger building. Let's jump out of an airplane. Like, he just fucking escalates.
And it genuinely is impressive. I mean, these stunts that he does are incredible. He's incredible, you know?
Really impressive. Although I will say there's stunt guys who do that for a living for their whole life too, and they're also impressive.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of time, I mean, 9.9 out of 10 movie stars would outsource that shit to somebody instead of doing it themselves. So, I mean, he's
like any actor besides Tom Cruise, probably.
Yeah. I mean, but he loves
jumping out of a plane. That's the kind of thing that you really wouldn't even have a stunt actor do. You would just like CGI that shit.
and like base jumping. Like you couldn't pay me enough to base jump. And
How is he ever insured? Does he just like pay for these movies? Like how? Like no company would ever insure him.
I don't know. He's probably just like, yeah, don't insure me. Like I'll do it. I'll take the hit. If I die, I die, you know.
He has to like. He must have to sign a contract saying he'll take the hit though, because otherwise it's like.
Well, what's he going to take? He'll be dead.
But like the studio will be like whoever his heirs are, like the studio would have to pay them out if he died like a wrongful death.
Oh no, I think I don't know.
He must sign something that like waives that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I can't imagine they would be liable. Like if he wants to do these,
they would never let him do it.
Yeah, if he's got to say, I want to do these, I accept the risk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just you know, I mean, it's admirable in a certain way. It's fun to watch when it works. But I mean, you're 62. Like, where does this end? Does he keep doing this until he's in his 80s? Like, what's he gonna?
I think he keeps doing it until he's like too injured to do anything else. Like, this seems like he's heading for death or becoming paraplegic, unless he's like maybe it's a truly freakish situation where like he'll just live until he's like 90 or whatever, and like keep doing this until he physically can't. That'd be wild, though.
I think he's going to live a long time. I have a feeling Tom Cruise is going to outlive both of us.
See, like I need that ability to live forever to be transferred to David Lynch instead of Tom Cruise.
Well, I've been listening to interviews. I've got on not a lot, but I got onto this. I get into these little micro obsessions, and I was listening to an interview with what's his name? He's like a futurist. Ray Kurzweil. You familiar with him? Mm-hmm. He just wrote a book, and he is predicting the future, and he's had some success making.
He's predicting the future.
Well, but I mean, like he tracks like technology trends and advancements in human.
Is he right usually?
He predicted the internet. He predicted social media. I mean, he
predicted the internet.
Like years and years ago was like this is
when?
Coming. I don't know, like in the 80s.
Didn't the internet already exist at that point, basically?
Well, I mean, I think he was predicting it like becoming like mainstreamed, which it would not have been at all at that point.
I see.
And so he is talking about like the future of health. He talks about a lot of things, but one of the things he says is that, the integration of the human body and mind with technology, like nanobot technology, is coming by like 2045. It's going to be like revolutionary in terms of
nanobot technology, like
little computer. They're going to be like able to inject like little like robots essentially that go in and like overtake a cancer cell. Do you know what I'm saying?
They do that, I'm going to become like whatever the equivalent of an anti-vaxxer is, but to little robots that they inject into your body. I'm going to be like, oh, that's going to cure my cancer. Don't inject the fucking robots into me. I'll die instead. Thank you.
But yeah, so what he's saying is that I think by like, I want to say it's by 2045 that happens, but as soon as like I think sooner than that, we're going to hit a point where like health technology and the ability for medical science to sort of counteract disease and to extend life is going to be such that like as we get older, we're going to actually start gaining time. Like right now, every day that goes by
over time, right? Like people now live to be much older.
Yeah,
in some sense it would like go up, right?
Yeah, but we're getting to a point where it's going to start to extend. Like you get to like 2030 something, and it's like you're actually going to start gaining time. The average person. He thinks that the first person to live to 1,000 is already alive on Earth.
I think he's wrong. I think that's not.
I think it's going to be
and I would
Tom Cruise.
Put a lot of money on it. 1,000 years old? 1,000? I'm like, okay, like 200 would be a stretch, but the person. I'm sorry. I'm like.
But it's like if you can start to manufacture organs in mass, like, and you can figure out cancer. I mean, like, there could be ways to just sort of replace parts. It's
your
like,
DNA just gets damaged. What do you do about that?
I don't know. Ask Ray Kurzweil. I don't even know why I'm talking about. Oh, because of Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is going to live to 1,000. Is my point.
If anyone who is alive right now is going to live to be 1,000, it's probably Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Or Tao. Tao might live to be 1,000, honestly, with all of his weird shit. Like, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Or the dude, the tech bro who takes like 600 supplements.
That guy's going to die in like a week. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, well, Ray Kurzweil takes like 130 supplements a day. He's 76, and I got to say, he seems every bit 76. He doesn't seem younger. I mean, he's with it, and
You
he
know,
seems like an
sometimes,
old man.
yeah. Sometimes I feel like these people who like predict, like, we're gonna live forever, we're gonna upload our consciousness, it's just like wishful thinking. Like, they're just like, oh, like, I'm not gonna die soon. I'm gonna live to be 1,000, or like, at least it's very possible that I will. And it's like, are you really predicting that because of like trends and like objectively, or are you predicting that because like you kind of want it?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway. So Tom Cruise, speaking of living forever, there are romance rumors happening where I guess he's like potentially, possibly in some sort of courtship with
This screams PR.
a Chris Martin singing protege. I don't even know who this is. Who is this?
Okay. Mission Impossible actor Tom Cruise, 62, has sparked rumors with Spanish singer Victoria Canal, whom he met at Glastonbury Festival in England earlier this year. Canal, 25, joined Coldplay on stage for their electric headlining set in June as Cruise was spotted watching from the VIP area. She's 25 years old. According to sources, the pair first met at a music festival before their friendship turned romantic in recent weeks. Dude, this is fake as fuck. Like, no fucking way. Tom invited Victoria to watch him film for the whole day, and that is not just something he does for random friends. It might have seemed unlikely that they would become anything more than friends, but they are pretty much inseparable.
So,
when was the last time Tom Cruise dated a woman?
He broke up with some Russian socialite earlier this year, is what I heard. It's like some model looking person.
Do we ever hear from these women? This is like fake shit. These are beards. I don't believe it.
I feel like 62 and 25 is a pretty big age split. What is it? Like a cute 25
years?
I mean, and you're dating Tom Cruise at 62. I mean, what's
bearding,
the allure?
Bearding is shockingly common in Hollywood music industry fame circles. Like, it doesn't happen. You'd think it doesn't happen as much because it's like being gay is much more acceptable now, but it's really, really common to pay somebody to be like, I'm dating this or that person, and then you break up in a month or whatever and you get money from it. Like, this girl seems hired to me.
And if it's not, like let's say that they really are dating, does she have?
Just so she can say I dated Tom Cruise for a while.
It helps raise her profile.
I mean, if I was 25 and Tom Cruise hit on me, I'd probably be like, all right, sure, I'll come on set and go on a few dates with you or whatever, like, for the experience.
And then he, like, calls you into his trailer. Like, he invites you to come to set and calls you into his trailer, and, like, David Miscavige is sitting there, just, like, in a three-piece suit, just, like, smiling like a demon. Just like, well,
Shelly Miscavige is, like, in a glass box. You can't hear her.
We still haven't found Shelly Miscavige, have we?
I bet Tom Cruise knows.
God. What
You think he knows?
I don't know.
I bet he knows.
I want to say he and
a good idea.
He and David Miscavige are tight.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that if David Miscavige confided in anyone, it would be like the deity that is Tom Cruise. But like,
exactly,
if he killed her, I mean, like, she's probably either in solitary confinement somewhere or like imprisoned.
She's dead.
You think she's dead?
I think she's dead. I mean, how long has it been since we last saw her?
A long time.
Like, a really long time.
Yeah, it's
like,
so fucked up.
I mean, I guess he is capable of, like, locking her in a basement, but
more than capable.
More than capable. But someone would have to, like, feed her, and she'd have to, like, be somewhere.
Yeah, that's what the Sea Org is for. That's what the Sea Org is for.
I feel like he wouldn't risk it. I feel like he would just kill her.
Yeah, probably.
Like, why keep her? Like, because then he can't take her out of confinement at that point, because she'll just be like, I was in confinement, so, like, you'd have to kill her.
I mean, David Miscavige, he's such a nutter, man. He gives me the worst creepy vibes. Like, I don't know. How does anybody look at that guy and be like, yeah, I'm going to follow him?
I mean,
he's in charge. Okay, good.
I mean, I think the same about many, many cult leaders. You know, you see like fucking Jim Jones, and it's like, why did anybody follow this fucking like fat Elvis motherfucker to fucking Guyana? What the fuck? But there they are.
Yeah, it's so twisted. I was on a Charles Manson kick recently. I read a book.
Oh, did you read the one about him being in the CIA?
Yeah.
So good.
What's it called? It's called
it's got a long title. It's like Charles Manson and the CIA and
No. I read a book that's one word.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Chaos or
Yeah.
Mayhem, I think is what it's called.
Is that right? The fucking.
And it was by a journalist who lived in Venice and who
Mhm.
got into it and like makes a, I mean, like, I don't know if it's the definitive because I don't know if you can get there with the facts as presently understood, but like makes a very convincing case that Charles Manson was probably a CIA, was probably being run by the CIA.
I feel crazy saying it, and I rarely say it out loud in social situations because people will be like, "This bitch has a tinfoil hat on," but like, I'm pretty convinced. Like that book convinced me.
Well, I mean, the Haight Ashbury Free Clinic, which was set up as like, you know, a place for poor hippie kids who were basically homeless runaways to be able to get medical treatment in the 1960s, was definitely CIA.
Yeah,
And
100%.
they were giving these kids free medical care as a way of being able to study them because they were like
Mm-hmm.
freaked out by this youth movement. And Manson was there. I mean, Manson was in that, and then he was also on parole. And I don't know. I'd have to like actually get
I
back
mean,
into
if
the
they're
book to get
trying
the
to,
facts straight.
yeah, yeah, I don't remember the exact facts either, but it's like if they're trying to gather a youth movement to understand what the deal is, it would make sense to have somebody like Manson on your side to like do something psychotic like that just to see what happens. Like in that kind of psychotic situation, if you see that potential in somebody as the CIA, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more like, I don't know if he was like, he wasn't like Charles Manson wasn't. He's too crazy to be like doing things for the CIA.
No.
They just knew he had this little hippie community of
Yeah,
girls
exactly.
following him, and they basically were like feeding him
Yeah.
money and drugs and like studying him, and then
Because
shit
the
went
money
sideways.
aspect doesn't add up unless there was some funding from elsewhere. Like those girls didn't have enough money to fund what was going on in the Manson commune.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't living high on the hog, but the whole thing is so
Still,
fucking interesting. And the you know, I don't even know how we got here. Oh, David Miscavige and Tom Cruise, but I
you
guess
know,
they're
my grandma and grandpa back like when the Manson trials were happening, they got caught with like a good amount of weed in the house, which actually belonged to my uncle, but my grandma and my grandpa took credit for it so my uncle wouldn't have to like potentially go to jail. And it was like a massive, massive charge. Anyways, they eventually ended up getting off literally because my grandma used to fuck the judge. It was like her ex-boyfriend was the judge. And she was able to be like, dude, like, we'll give you a good amount of money if you just like
I'll
hook.
fuck you again if you just.
And I mean, you know, she never said that because, like, I'm her granddaughter, but I do feel like that was the implication, to be totally honest. But when they were going into court, the Manson girls were like walking down the hallway, like with a famous picture when they have like the fucking X's on their head and they're like, you know, wearing the outfits or whatever and they're handcuffed, walk right by them. And the girls like smiled and kind of like waved. And like my grandparents had to be like, like we're hippie weirdos, but not like that. We're not with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, those, it's so twisted. Like the way
Mm-hmm.
that, like how they were doing a lot of acid too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, those kids, the Manson kids, and they were gone.
They
They were,
weren't sleeping. They were driven to the brink of insanity.
that's from when they, yeah,
I mean, to
passed,
insanity.
no doubt. So I don't know. So Tom Cruise now possibly has a 25-year-old girlfriend, or it could just be for show, like just to get PR and like
Either way, it's weird.
either way. And like I always feel like protective of these young girls who get involved with him because it's like you can't date or be in a long-term serious relationship with him without giving yourself over to Scientology, right? He can't date, like he doesn't just date somebody who's like, no, you know,
No,
I'm an atheist. Like I'm
I
not
wouldn't be
interested.
surprised if we found out this girl like was raised in Scientology or something like that. Like I would bet the Church of Scientology has a hand in who he gets to date publicly and who he does not.
Yeah. I really, I know it will not happen probably in my lifetime or maybe after, like, I think probably Katie Holmes would have to die. Tom Cruise would have to die. Like David Miscavige might have to die, but like eventually there needs to be a book and a movie made about how Katie Holmes got out of that marriage. Like that story is so fascinating to me.
You know, we have a family friend. I'm just like remembering this first time in like 10 years when Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise were like gonna get divorced and it was like in the midst of like the whole debacle. Uh, we had this family friend who made shirts that just said like free Katie Holmes. And she made enough money off of those shirts to put a down payment on a house in Los Angeles.
No. Wow.
In like Pasadena too, like a nice house.
Where was she selling these t-shirts?
Online, like I
Yeah.
think mostly online.
I mean, that was a very delicate exfil. Like she had, Katie Holmes's dad I want to say is a divorce attorney.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, I think you mentioned that. That makes a lot of sense how she was able to get out of it. Like
This,
otherwise she would be fucked.
yeah, the secrecy, the cloak and dagger, moving to New York where divorce laws were friendlier.
God, she could have been
Established.
another Shelley Miscavige.
Yeah, I mean, and she got that kid out of that thing too, because
Mm-hmm.
he took the kids that he had with Nicole Kidman,
Yeah.
and they stayed in Scientology, and
Yeah.
Katie got her daughter out. So I don't know. I'm always rooting for them, but
Same. I mean, it seems like Katie Holmes kind of just gave up her career to make sure that her daughter was like safe from this whole Scientology shit.
right, good for her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, what else is happening?
So, okay, this is one that you added. I didn't know that this was an issue, but apparently the headline is Vanna White and Ryan Seacrest finally get along as Wheel of Fortune filming begins. So they had some kind of beef.
Dude, what is Ryan Seacrest just the host of everything? How did this guy?
Yes. Okay, wait. This is not quite on topic, but you know my favorite thing that Ryan Seacrest does is his hosting thing. It's so psychotic. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. But in Los Angeles, if you tune into 102.7 Kiss FM, I think it is, early in the morning, when I worked for Snoop Dogg and I would drive there in the morning, I would carpool and we would all listen to this thing. It's called Ryan's Roses. And what it is that he has somebody on the station, not him, but one of the other hosts on the station. They'll get phone calls from people who think that their partner is cheating on them. And what they'll do is they'll have somebody from the radio station call their partner and say, we're from a local florist and we're giving out free bouquets to people in the neighborhood. We'd like to give you a free bouquet of roses. Who would you like to send it to? And then if they choose to send it to, like, they'll maybe choose to send it to their girlfriend, or maybe they'll choose to send it to the person they're having an affair with. And meanwhile, their partner is on the phone listening the whole time. And so as soon as they say, like, I want to give this to, my mistress, the person on the other line is like, how fucking could you? Like, what the fuck? And you just hear marriages dissolve. It's like 8 a.m. You hear like just multiple marriages just dissolve as Ryan Seacrest gets on the phone. And he's like, hey, so actually you're on the radio right now and we have your girlfriend on the line. And they're like, why the fuck is Ryan Seacrest talking to me? Like, what the fuck is going on? It's horrendous. And every day he does this.
Every day. Yeah, because he like hosts like a, like crack of dawn radio show. He did America's Got Talent or something like that, or what is it?
Probably, or like The Voice or something.
Something like that. And then he does the New Year's Eve thing. He's just like the Dick Clark. He's the Dick Clark of the millennials or something.
Yeah, he's kind of like Dime Store Andy Cohen too, with like he produced the Keeping Up with the Kardashians and the New Kardashian Show, and I want to say some other reality shows too, but I'm not sure.
Got to be worth a fortune.
Oh yeah, big time.
And they got him to host Wheel of Fortune because Pat Sajak retired.
Oh, he's hosting it like for good now?
I guess, unless it's a temporary thing. But it seems like, he and Vanna White were having problems. Is that
yeah, what? Is Ryan Seacrest gay? Like what?
And why is Vanna White still on that fucking show? Like when Pat Sajak...
kind of a hottie still. That's amazing.
She looks great, and like nothing against her, but like, dude, like you made it. 42 show. It's like the 42nd season of the show.
Well, here's what I don't understand. Why didn't they just make Vanna White the host? She's been there for so long. She knows exactly how it works. Like she would be the ideal host, wouldn't she?
I mean, she turns those letters. That's her. I mean, can you imagine? That's her whole life. Her whole life is just turning those letters.
Kind of a great job.
She's made a fortune. She's worth a fortune for doing that.
Good for her.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fucking dope.
But Seacrest and her are, butting heads.
Makes me like her more that she has some kind of issue with Ryan Seacrest. Because, like, no celebrity has an issue with Ryan Seacrest. You kind of can't admit that as a celebrity because he's so powerful. But she's like, I'm Vanna White. What the fuck are you going to do? I have one job and I do it every day.
Ryan won't make his television debut as host until September. I mean, and she's like, I know how this place works. And he's showing up as like the new guy.
Right. She's like, all right, like, I'm the head bitch in charge here.
It's not that complicated. I mean, it's like a spelling show, right? You just spell words. Like,
yeah. But Ryan Seacrest is probably like really salty that like he wasn't head honcho the minute he showed up. She's like, no, I run this place. Like, I've been here for longer. Fuck you.
Power struggle.
I'm Team Vanna White all the way.
At one point, insiders became convinced that Vanna had decided to step down after failing to form a productive partnership with Ryan. In fact, a rumor that Vanna would be replaced by Kim Kardashian
Oh my God.
took hold on social media, but now it seems Ryan has remedied the situation by entering, quote, full Mr. Nice Guy mode.
Terrifying.
Vanna White has aged remarkably well.
She's hot, dude. Like, how old is she? Like,
She's got to be in her 60s, I would guess. But
at least.
you don't want to push her out. She's a legend. She's a TV legend.
What the fuck is Wheel of Fortune without Vanna White? It's nothing. The whole point is that she's there fucking, like, you know, doing the letters.
Asked if Pat Sajak has reached out to Ryan to offer any advice, a source told the Mirror, quote, he's too busy having fun with all this newfound free time he's got. Ryan can reach out to Pat if he wants, but asking isn't getting.
That's so funny. Like, and like advice for what? Like how to deal with Vanna White? Like, oh, how'd you deal with Vanna White all that time? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, these people who host like the Family Feud, like these institutional game shows, that's a sweet gig. I mean, it's so like The Price is Right.
I mean, the hosts do it till they die, right? Like it's like fucking Jeopardy. My fucking brain. I'll never remember a name on cue.
Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Make a fortune. It's pretty easy. Get to be the host. Give people money if they win.
I saw Jeopardy live once, and the most surprising thing to me was like, you know, in the beginning of Jeopardy, when they're like, there's like a voice and it's like, Alex Trebek. That guy is there live. Johnny, he's a guy and he sits in a chair, and that's his entire job is just doing that announcement, and he's been there like since the beginning.
In college, friends and I attended a taping of The Price is Right with like old school with Bob Barker and Rod Roddy on LSD. And
wow.
Yeah. So that's one of my fonder memories.
It was me and a coworker went to this Jeopardy taping, and we both took a very, very strong edible. And like, you're really not allowed to make noise in the audience when Jeopardy is taping. And there was a couple moments where we like almost bust out laughing. And there was like a guy in the audience like, don't do it.
Yeah. We were such a mess at in the studio, which of course is like much smaller when you're there in person than you would expect. You go into the Price is Right studio, and it's like this tiny room. And I mean, this was like the peak of my hippie years. I had long hair. I'm probably wearing like a tie-dye shirt. Like,
you will include a photo for the promo of this.
I had not slept in, like 36 hours.
Oh my God.
And then to get on The Price is Right, you have to show up at like 6:00 in the morning.
Right.
Get in line at CBS Television City. And like, we're in line, we're sort of like, tripping. And by the time the show happened, it's like 3 or 4 hours later, and they interview you in line. That's how they decide who they're going to call. Like come on.
Oh, because like they'll choose like contestants from the audience.
Yeah, it's like, come on down, you're the next contestant. And so there are people there who all have like the same T-shirt on. Like, that's one strategy. You're like a group. We're a group from Iowa. We all came out. And we were there, and we're just like bug-eyed and bonkers. And the funny thing is that we were so offended that like none of us got called up. We couldn't believe it. We felt robbed.
Your eyes are like just like
yeah, just bugging out of our head. We were, clueless, but good memories. And then later, when the episode aired like a month and a half later. They taped these things ahead of time, so it was like, I don't know how long it was, but it was significantly after the trip, the spring break. And we had like a kegger at our house to like watch the show.
You probably weren't even on the episode like at all. Probably
we
like
were though. We were. Yeah, they pan the audience, and I'm like in a tie dye, like just tripping my face off.
Easy to point out in the audience, probably.
Yeah, just
on LSD.
Yeah, just bugging out in that studio, but. So that's that. And then Vanna White and Ryan Seacrest, like, I hope they get along. I kind of feel like Vanna should have gone out with Pat, like just make it a clean break, but she's hanging on.
I feel like she should have insisted on being the host, because like Vanna White has power. You kick Vanna White out of Wheel of Fortune, people are going to be mad. I think she should have been host.
Vanna White, incidentally, is also now doing her own stunts and is going to skydive onto the Hollywood sign in
Off of the
protest.
Wheel of Fortune sign, a
Yeah,
couple of feet onto the ground.
she refuses to admit that time is passing her by. But so, what else is happening in the world?
Ooh, okay, this is my favorite. So today we've decided that instead of the Brad Learn segment, we are going to focus our attention on a very important breaking story, which is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a independent presidential candidate, admitted to leaving a corpse of a dead bear cub in Central Park.
What the fuck?
So what the fuck, right? Now, he explained it, and it still doesn't make sense. So let's just preface there. Like, his story makes no sense. What happened is yesterday, he posted a tweet with the caption, "Looking forward to how you spin this one, New Yorker," at New Yorker. And in the video...
Meaning like the New Yorker magazine.
Uh-huh. So it's a video of him talking to Roseanne Barr.
Why the fuck is he with Roseanne Barr?
I don't know. I haven't been able to figure this part out. Why the fuck is he... And like Roseanne Barr is looking at him like, oh no, oh yeah. God, what are you talking... I don't... And like Roseanne Barr is insane.
I was going to say, when Roseanne Barr is looking at you like you're crazy, you know you've spiraled.
She's like holding a cup like this and she's like, like she...
So the headline basically is that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a presidential candidate who has admitted that he has a brain worm.
Mm-hmm. He admitted that a worm got into his brain, ate part of it, and died, specifically.
Is now admitting that he left a dead bear cub in Central Park and staged it so that it would look like the bear had gotten run over by a bike.
And now I think that it does bear mentioning that earlier this month, there was a scandal in which a photo... was circulated of him next to a woman holding what appeared to be a dead cooked dog. And RFK Jr. then came to defend himself and said, no, it was a goat.
Okay, so let's just pause, because this guy, he pisses me off. He's a chaos agent.
Yeah. He's like the craziest Kennedy, maybe even more than like Little Edie.
And he could fuck up this election with his nonsense. You know, people are going to vote for this guy. I don't know who, but like...
Yeah, who?
I mean, like 3%.
Like, people are, but it's wild.
Like, what do you... Like, the whole thing is so fucked up, and he's so obviously unfit for any public office. And it's like,
in addition to like the many just like plethora of reasons why he's like a crazy person who like not only shouldn't be president, but probably shouldn't have any job anywhere ever because he's so fucking insane. Like, just a crazy bad guy. Like,
he's got like the endorsement of some celebrities too. Like
I mean, he's married to Cheryl Hines, who was Larry David's wife in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What is she thinking? She's got to be like, this guy's nuts.
I mean, right? The only time she's ever talked about her husband publicly was when she had to release a statement saying that she did not approve of his Holocaust denial.
And his previous wife committed suicide.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That is
I want to say. So I mean,
I think you did.
So I have some conspiracy theory mindedness about this. Just the fact that he's running this campaign as like a disruptor and a chaos agent. You know,
if you look at his past, he's always been fucking insane. He's always done crazy shit over and over and over and over again.
So maybe that's it. Okay. Like, I think like the Occam's razor take on it would be like, always been crazy, likes to do crazy shit.
Like, he's got the money for it.
Narcissistic personality disorder, wants to have attention, wants to like somehow claim the family mantle as like a political leader.
Believes he's extra smart and has like seen through the like grift of other people and that he can like be a benefit to society. Like, he is delusional.
Yeah, that could be it.
Also, a former junkie, maybe a little brain damage. Sorry to use the word junkie. I know many addicts and I love them, but he was a heroin addict and maybe has a little brain damage from it.
Maybe a lot of brain damage.
Or maybe a lot of brain damage.
But the other thing, I mean, there's another part of me that's like, okay, so the scion of the Kennedy political dynasty, named Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is now running at a pivotal moment when America is like teetering on the brink of like authoritarian kleptocracy, like a fascist movement is like threatening to take power. And you've got this guy who has this name brand that is so associated with like progressive politics in America and like a noble tradition of liberal politics in America, somewhat noble. The Kennedys, I mean, JFK and RFK, yeah, very beloved. And so to have this guy running as a disruptor in this election with that brand, which you would think would hurt the Democrats since the Kennedys are, but I guess I think he could be taking votes from Trump too.
I mean, also I think he's probably mostly taking votes from Trump, honestly.
Okay, then keep him in. Family. I like him now. If he's going to take votes from Trump, let's keep him in.
Like his whole family has been like, we don't like him. Why is he running for president? Do not vote for him. Fuck this guy. Like many members of his family.
Okay, so let me just finish my conspiracy theory, like tinfoil hat thing. Is that to do this when you have no chance of winning? And it's kind of a public humiliation. And you have this many skeletons in your closet. Like, God only knows what we don't know about this guy. But, like, the stuff that we're learning about him is just so bizarro and, like, troubling.
Like a new thing every week. And, like, just, like, the weirdest thing you could possibly predict. Like, next thing you know, he's going to be, like, fucking, like, the Zodiac Killer. Oh, yeah, I knew the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, like, that's, like, where it's headed. Like, that sort of craziness. It makes me wonder... And with a history of substance abuse difficulties, it would be very easy for me to imagine how a foreign intelligence service would want a guy named Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on tape having sex with like underage girls or hookers or being wasted, or it would be very easy to get leverage over him and to run him as a foreign asset. It would. And that's how this shit works. Like they get you on tape. They honey trap you or whatever it's called. They get you on tape doing unsavory things sexually or with drugs or both.
As much as like I love the conspiracy minded brain that you're having right now, and generally that's where my brain is at too. Like, yes, let's go full conspiracy. However, if they are blackmailing him into running as president, why is like every bad thing he's ever done coming to light still?
Probably because the press is like, who knows? I mean, did the New Yorker break this story about the bear, the dead?
Well, they
bear
did
cub?
today, but yesterday is when he like preempted the New Yorker posting it by posting this video of him explaining the whole story to Roseanne Barr, and used the caption, "Looking forward to how you spin this one," as if the New Yorker would have to spin the story at all to make it seem insane. Like they wouldn't. You don't have to do any kind of spin on this story to make it seem completely fucking insane.
Yeah, so he's driving in upstate New York and he sees a bear cub get hit, and then he picks it up.
Yeah, so like the story that he told her, I've literally like written down notes because it doesn't fucking add up. So in the video, he describes that he dumped a bear cub corpse in Central Park 10 years ago. 10 years ago exactly.
In New York City.
In New York City in Central Park. So what happened is that he was going hawking with some friends. Now I had to look up what hawking is because I don't hunt. I don't know what the fuck that is. Do you know what it is?
It's where you're looking for hawks. It's
where you get a trained hawk to like bring like prey or like whatever, like small animals like squirrels, bunnies, whatever the fuck. The trained hawk brings them and you shoot them. That's hawking, apparently.
You shoot the bunny. You don't shoot the hawk.
You don't shoot the hawk. You shoot the bunny. Exactly. The hawk is trained to like bring you the bunnies, and I think maybe have them in the air and drop them, and then you shoot them.
You shoot them out of the sky, like skeet?
I think it's both. I think you shoot them out of the sky and sometimes on the ground, but like they're hawks, so they pick them up like that.
That's some rich people shit.
It is. It's fucking weird as hell, and I don't like it, and I think it's creepy. But so he was on his way to go hawking with friends very, very early in the morning. He said it was like 7 or something like that. And then, so his story is that a woman in front of him on the road said a woman hit a bear cub with her car. He doesn't, no, okay, I'll go through the whole story before I get into my questions, which are many. So a woman hits the bear cub. There's a dead bear cub in the road. RFK Jr. then goes, picks up the dead bear and puts it in his car. He said that his plan was to skin the bear and store the meat in his freezer.
You're going to eat bear.
You're going to eat bear. I guess he's going to eat bear.
Do people eat bear? Do people eat bears?
No, I've never heard of anyone eating a bear. He also claimed that he was like, and don't worry, it's legal in New York State because you can get something called a bear tag for roadkill bears. I don't know why that exists or why you would want to take a roadkill. Like, that's fucking weird as fuck to me. And he wanted to eat the bear meat, I guess. I don't know what he wanted to do with the bear skin. I don't know why he picked up this. Like, it is like so... It makes no fucking sense, right? That makes no fucking sense. Like,
so he's gonna skin the bear, freeze the meat, save the fur, like make some sort of pelt out of it or something.
Presumably, I mean, who knows? He didn't even say. So okay, so their hawking apparently went really well. They ended up staying pretty late. Then he says he had a dinner that night at Peter Luger Steakhouse in New York. He said that they stayed out hawking too late, so he wasn't able to go home before he went to Peter Luger Steakhouse. He had to go directly to Peter Luger Steakhouse. So there's a dead bear in his car. He is going from hawking, hunting, to Peter Luger Steakhouse with a dead bear in his car. All right?
Yeah.
So he goes to Peter Luger Steakhouse. He specifies that he was not drinking because he's sober. But there was other people drinking at the dinner. And he said that that the fellow dinner guests who were with him said that they thought it would be funny, amusing, to leave the dead bear in Central Park and make it look like a bike accident. Like somebody had hit a bear cub in Central Park with their bike. Which is insane. There's like, I don't like, if anybody has ever been to Central Park or knows New York, there's no fucking bears in Central Park. There's like rats and that's it. Like, that's psychotic. So he's at this dinner. They think, oh, hilarious. Go like set up this dead bear cub to make it look like it was hit by a bike. So they go to Central Park. He says they had just put bike lanes into Central Park. So there was a lot of bike accidents happening at the time, which I guess is why he thought bike accident. Now, he says that he had an old bike in his trunk. So he's coming back from hawking. He's going to Peter Luger Steakhouse. And in his car, there is a dead bear and an old bike. I don't know why. So he says that then him and his friends at dinner dumped the bear in Central Park and made it look like a bike accident. Now, I have a whole list of questions here.
All right. Let's hear them.
Okay. So a woman hit the bear cub with her car. Not RFK Jr., someone else. Where the fuck did that woman go? Was it a hit and run? Did she hit the bear and just fucking drive away? Or did she say like, oh no, I hit a bear. Let's put it in RFK Jr.'s trunk? What happened to that lady? She hit a bear cub. Like, wouldn't you think that that would kind of be part of it?
Well, I mean, I think she might have hit it and then pulls over and is like, oh my God, I killed this poor bear cub. And then RFK Jr. pulled over and was like, don't worry about it, lady. I'll take it.
So RFK Jr. was a conservationist. Don't you think that if she had killed a bear cub, he would have like called some kind of professional agency to like get the bear cub and figure out where it came from and who its mother was, etc.? Like bears aren't that common.
I don't know. I mean,
why would he put a bear corpse in his trunk?
Because he's a weirdo.
Also, it was a bear cub. Where the fuck was the mama bear? Like, I don't hike, but even I know that if you see a bear cub, there's a mama bear nearby and that bear's going to fuck you up.
Could be.
Where the fuck is the mama bear?
Yeah. I mean,
wouldn't she be there immediately?
Well, I mean, maybe, I guess maybe she saw the bear cub get hit and ran away or something. I don't know.
Right? Know. It's weird, right? So like, I don't know what the fuck that's about. That doesn't make any sense to me. If I had to guess, I would say RFK definitely hit the bear and is just pretending that he didn't because that's super illegal to kill a bear. And then, okay, second question. So hawking is when you hunt small prey animals with the help of a trained hawk.
Well, he might have shot the bear.
Exactly. He had a fucking hunting rifle on him this whole time. Did he just shoot the bear? It seems kind of like it would make a little more sense than just some lady running over the bear and him just like taking the roadkill off the road.
Yeah. And like, I think too, you know, if these cops in Central Park find this carcass, it's not like they're going to run an autopsy on the bear. They don't know how it died. They just know there's just a dead bear in the
And
park.
Also, if the bear was hit by a car, you wouldn't have to run an autopsy to see that the bear was hit by a car and not a bike. It would be very clear, I think. It would have fucking tire marks on it. It would be all fucked up in a way that being hit by a bike would not It wouldn't kill a bear. The bear would kill you if you hit it with a bike.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
So you're postulating that he shot it or killed it somehow.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he hit it with this. I don't know. But it does seem weird that he was able to make a bear who was hit by a car look like it was killed with a bike. And
how do you make it look like it was killed with a bike? What, did it have tire tracks on it?
Over it with the bike? Did he ride the bike over the baby bear cub at Central Park? Maybe. That's what he'd have to do to make it look like a bike accident. It's horrifying. And there's so many horrific details here.
Well, who puts a dead animal, like a bleeding dead animal, in your car?
Why are you touching it? Why are you doing anything with that besides calling the police?
Or calling animal services?
Yeah, or whatever the fuck. He's a conservationist. He should know who to call.
Yeah, he should have them on speed dial.
That's fucking insane. So okay, so then another question that I have, which is, maybe you'll be able to answer this. When you go hawking, you hunt small animals. Did he have a bunch of small dead animals in his car also?
I don't know. I'm not a hunter. I don't know anything about that. That doesn't appeal to me. But
if any viewer understands what you do with the dead animals after you go hawking, let me know. Because in my mind, I'm imagining a bunch of dead squirrels and rabbits and a dead bear cub in his car.
What do you want? I mean, I guess people sometimes eat rabbit. Sometimes you can't eat squirrel. But what is Robert F. Kennedy? He's got more money than God. He can eat it. He can go to, what is it called? Robert Luger's steakhouse or whatever. Peter Luger? Yeah. Richard Luger was a senator from Indiana. But Peter Luger's steakhouse for dinner. He doesn't need to eat squirrels. And no. Typically when you hunt and you kill a deer or something, you field dress it. So you gut the animal and
yeah. Well, I guess his plan was to gut the animal at home and take the pelt and put the meat in his fucking freezer.
In New York, he lives in the city. He's going to gut an animal in his penthouse.
Even having a car in New York and driving to Peter Luger's steakhouse is kind of hard for me to believe, to be honest. I know he did it, but that's fucking weird.
The whole thing, the whole scene, the whole package.
I have more questions here. So the timeline, right? He's hawking. It goes really well. He's there late. He has to go straight to Peter Luger's steakhouse. Okay. Now his story is that after Peter Luger's steakhouse, he was talking to his friends there. They were like, it would be so hilarious and funny, haha, if you left the dead bear in the park and ran it over with a bike. We don't think it's weird that you have a dead bear in your car. We just think it's hilarious, haha, whatever the fuck he's claiming happened at this dinner. And then after the dinner, he said he had to go straight to the airport. So he wasn't able to go home with this dead bear carcass, which is why he dumped it in Central Park. So what I'm wondering is, why did he have his luggage? Did he have his luggage? Did he take his luggage hawking with him? How did he have any luggage when he went to the airport and flew somewhere?
So wait. Did I hear you correctly? He left Central Park and went to the airport?
Yes. He went directly from hawking to Peter Luger Steakhouse to the airport. But between Peter Luger Steakhouse and the airport, he left a dead bear in Central Park.
This guy is so fucking crazy that I can't even process it. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Now, okay, I looked up how late Peter Luger Steakhouse is open. It's open until 9:15. So let's say he was at Peter Luger Steakhouse until closing. Let's say he was there even an hour after closing and it was 10 p.m. Central Park at 10 p.m. is busy. There's people there. There's people all over the place. It's not like a dark, empty park at 10 p.m. You'd have to go there at 3 a.m. Where the fuck was he dumping this bear at 9 p.m., 10 p.m.? People would see him. And then he's running over the bear with a bike? How's he doing that at 9 p.m.?
So what do you think happened?
I'm confused as hell. I honest to God don't even know. I don't, it seems unrealistic that his friends at dinner would be like, it's hilarious, you have a dead bear in your car, let's go run over it with a bike in Central Park. That seems like it didn't happen. I feel like it was a solo thing. But there's a lot of details I can't really figure out. How did he get to the airport without his luggage? Did he have this dinner at Peter Luger's steak? What was the timeline of events here?
Here's what I would say is if he's flying, I don't know where he was going. Do we know where he was going?
Nope.
If he's flying from New York, where he has a residence, to another place where he has a residence, he might not have needed to bring shit because he has shit at both places. Right.
If he was flying to another house, that's a good point. My other question is, why the fuck did he have an old bike? That doesn't make any sense. Just happened to have an old bike. Also, okay, so he said that the reason why he made it into a bike accident specifically, besides that he just happened to have an old bike in his car, is that they had just installed bike lanes in Central Park. And so a lot of bike accidents were happening and a lot of people were getting hurt. Now, from what I understand about bike lanes, the whole point is that you put them in there so that there are less accidents and less people get hurt.
Yeah.
Why would there be more accidents when they put the bike lanes in?
Maybe just people getting, like pedestrians getting hit because they weren't yet, used to accommodating the bike lanes. They were like walking across the bike lanes and getting, I don't know.
I mean, the bike lanes are really like separate from like the walking paths, like pretty obvious in Central Park. Like it really did like make a lot less injuries happen.
One of the great bike rides of my life happened in Central Park in those very bike lanes in the spring. It was like a perfect spring day in New York, and it was just so beautiful.
Did you see a dead bear?
I did not, nor did I hit anybody. I had it was a pleasant bike ride, but I don't know, man. I just think the RFK shit is just so unfathomably weird. And
like if you had to guess how the bear died, gun to your head.
I think he shot it.
I think he shot it. I think he shot it, and then I think he ran over it with a bike enough that you couldn't see the bullet hole.
Yeah.
And a gunshot would have scared the mom away. It's loud enough.
Yeah, so he probably illegally shot it. He's a conservationist. I mean...
And also, I have to imagine he's saying it now exactly 10 years later because it's past statute of limitations.
Well, Andy got caught.
Yeah, Andy got caught. There's a picture of him with this dead bear, by the way, that was released today, just a couple hours ago, with his hands like in the mouth of the dead bear, all fucking bloody. Yeah, and like smiling. Like,
well, he's pretending that the bear's biting him. And
yeah.
He's got like bear blood on his hand. I mean, it's just so bizarro, this behavior. And I gotta believe, like, he must be totally estranged from his family, because the sort of shit that he is doing and saying and the kinds of revelations that are being made, these are grounds for an intervention. Like,
I mean, like, so JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg is his name. He's got the spirit of Little Edie in him. He's very funny, but he's done like 1,000 TikToks.
Wait, spirit of who?
Little Edie Beale. You've seen Grey Gardens, right?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
You have.
I know Grey Gardens. It's like I know, like, it's like the two ladies living in the house, and like
they're sisters of Jackie O, and they're totally nutso, and like they live in this like dilapidated mansion that's totally falling apart.
Oh, I didn't realize they were related to Jackie O.
Yeah, they're Kennedys technically. And like, yeah. And so Jack Schlossberg, who like writes for Vogue and is like just like a handsome, funny guy on TikTok, is
is he straight or gay?
It's debatable. No one's really totally sure.
Oh, okay.
He gets like, he's a little fruity on TikTok, but it's like, that's not totally clear.
He's charming. I see it on social media. A lot of girls have a crush on him or feel like he's like the safe crush Kennedy or whatever.
The secret is that like women really just want a dude with a big nose who gets a little fruity with it.
I've got a big nose, but
you get a little fruity with it.
I can't.
That's tough. See,
it's my failing.
So JFK's grandson, which I guess is like RFK Jr.'s first cousin once removed or something like that. I'm not totally sure, but they're related. He's done like 1,000 TikToks just being like, I know this guy. He's my family. I've known him for a long time. Do not fucking vote for him. Like, trust me. Like, I know him better than you do. Like he's like begging people not to vote for him.
This is Schlossberg, the fruity, the fruity charmer.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, wait, this is fucking weird. His sister, Tatiana, reported on the dead bear in Central Park 10 years ago before anyone knew it was RFK. Like, she broke the story in the New York Times.
She's a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And she had no idea, probably, that it was her.
Unrelated.
Uncle.
No idea.
I mean, it's a small world.
Mm-hmm.
The Kennedy family is like this tragic. Like, they've had a lot of tragedy, right? There's a darkness on that family. And there's also, like, I mean, Joe Kennedy, like the original, like the OG patriarch of that family, was a questionable dude. Like, he had questionable morality.
They all did and do. Yeah, like, it's not great. Have you heard about how RFK Jr. is doing some kind of fundraiser where the reward is that you get to go on a cruise with RFK Jr. and Cheryl Hines.
I wouldn't get on a fucking cruise ship anyway, but like with him, no way. Like I'm not.
You would not catch me ever in my entire life on any vessel with a Kennedy, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't even be alone in a room with a Kennedy. Like, I don't, like, that shit's dangerous.
Yeah, like a lucky fundraiser. We'll get to go on a private jet with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tom Cruise.
Oh my God. Like, I wouldn't even go on a roller coaster with the Kennedy. If I saw Kennedy was behind me in a roller coaster, I'd be like, let me the fuck off. I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. No.
Yeah. God, it was so sad when John died. He was so handsome. I could not get over how handsome that guy was.
He really, he was handsome and he laid pipe. He really fucked a lot of women, that guy.
Did he?
And men.
Did he?
I mean, allegedly.
You think everybody's gay.
He wrote in a memoir that he like shared a bed with his college roommate for years.
Yeah. Well, so, he met a sad end. He did. And I feel like
he did. His head exploded.
It's obvious. What? Oh, you mean John F. Kennedy, the president?
Yeah.
I was talking about his son who died.
Oh, okay. His head might have exploded, but we're not sure.
Well, he was. Yeah. I mean, just the poor bastard. It just didn't have like. Why was he flying that night? It just didn't need to happen.
I think a lot about Jackie O because like after JFK was assassinated, she literally became a librarian. Like she was just like, I'm living a quiet life. This shit is fucked. Somebody assassinated my husband. I don't want to do anything that could possibly make anybody think about me ever again. And she was a librarian for the rest of her fucking life.
Well, she worked as an editor too, like
an editor. Yeah. I mean, she was an editor and then a librarian as she got older. I mean, she had a high level, good job. She was smart. She like whatever, but she was like, I'm out of politics and I'm going to live a quiet life.
I don't blame her.
I know. I'd do the same. I'd be like, don't worry, CIA, I'm not a threat.
I just can't get over how nobody around RFK Jr. is like sitting him down.
They are, is the thing. They are. The Kennedy family is sitting him down like, don't fucking do this. You're making the Kennedys look bad. And he's just insane.
And but they like, do they have proximity to him? I feel like they're all estranged. Like, I feel like they're saying things on public, but they're not like actually like.
Yeah, I think he's estranged from a lot of them. And I think that it's why he's not really listening. Like, he doesn't care. Like, even the Kennedys, he's not estranged from. He's just like, well, fuck the family. I'm out. I think Cheryl Hines didn't even want him to run.
I mean, this has not been good for Cheryl Hines.
Let's put it that way. It certainly has not.
I mean, at best, she's seen as just enabling this, but it's also like, girl, like, what are you doing? Like, be careful. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, be careful.
I mean, like, he played fucking Larry David's wife on television, and she's married to someone who denied the Holocaust.
He denied the Holocaust?
Yeah.
And he's like like what are the things that he believes? He believes that vaccines are evil.
Yeah, anti-vaccine. He kind of thinks COVID is fake. Part of his brain was eaten with a worm, but that's another story. He's got so many crazy ass beliefs. Like he's one of these like red meat people. Like just like I only eat red meat and that's like healthy somehow.
Like Liver King.
Yeah, some shit like that. Like he's like, yeah, like Holocaust denial. Like, I mean, all this weird animal shit, fucking dead dog, fucking dead bear. Like, he's just like fucked. He's a fucked human being.
And he's running
like his whole life is fucked.
So of the three candidates running for president, two of them are like just objectively twisted.
Mm-hmm. RFK in a way that I've like never even seen before. Like Trump, we saw in 2016. I kind of know the kind of horrible that he is, but RFK, brand new. To me, that's brand new.
This is why I think these guys are controlled by like foreign governments, because it just degrades our whole society.
You have a good view of human beings, and you're like, no human being would just be this crazy on their own. They have to be having a bad influence over them, but. I think Occam's razor might be correct in this situation that they are simply bad people.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like one thing to be twisted and mentally ill and all this stuff. It's another thing to have like,
He's got the resources to be a deeply mentally ill man who still gets to run for president.
I guess you're right. I mean, his name's Robert Kennedy Jr. I mean,
exactly.
Well,
He's
I guess
and he's bold.
now is as good a time as any to ask you if you will be endorsing RFK Jr. for president.
100%, yes. And in fact, I love RFK Jr. I think that he's going to make a great president. He's going to be fantastic when he gets assassinated in some spectacular manner. And I hope he kills a lot more bears.
Oh my God. Well,
to be clear, that's a joke, and you would have to hold a gun to my head for me to vote for RFK Jr. And who I will be voting for is the worm that ate part of his brain.
Okay. You heard it here first. We're breaking news on Brad and Mira for the Culture. Mira,
that's right.
It's good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too, Brad.
This very special episode. And I'm sure we'll be learning more about the RFK Jr. bear incident in the days ahead. Maybe we'll talk about it some more.
Oh, yes. We will keep you up to date. This is one of my favorite stories. So.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon. Oh, and by the way, we should let people know we are off next week, and then we'll return the week after that.
I know you're going to miss us, but we'll be back. Don't worry.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.